Let me applaud you, Adam Schiff, whose name is synonymous with courage, with patriotism, with restoring the faith of the American people in our government. Their faith and the governance, good governance, gives people hope about our country, its future, and their particular challenges. Adam Schiff, whose name is synonymous with courage, with patriotism.
You said that there was direct evidence of the fact that Donald Trump colluded with Russia back in 2016. Special counsel Robert Mueller said in his report, quote, "The investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government." Republicans argue that's proof that you used your position on the Intelligence Committee to intentionally mislead Americans, which is why you should not be on that committee.
We will be putting together a report that will set out for the country what evidence we have seen to date, what evidence we have seen in terms of the Russian hacking and dumping operation, what evidence we have seen in terms of the Russian social media campaign, their paid media campaign, and yes, the issue of collusion with the Trump campaign. There is significant evidence, much of it in the public domain, on the issue of collusion. The work is too important to leave undone. In particular, the American people need to know whether the Russians still have something they can hold over the president's head.
If you read the Mueller report, he makes clear, even in the first few pages of the report, that he states no conclusion on whether Donald Trump and his campaign colluded with the Russians. But let me just, set the record straight. This is only one of a shifting series of rationalizations and pretexts that McCarthy is using.
Well, let me give you another. He says that this is part of a pattern. Ahead of the first Trump impeachment, you said the committee had not spoken to a whistleblower. In fact, that turned out not to be true. You know, the Washington Post said so in their fact check.
Do you anticipate when we might vote on the ability to have the whistleblower in front of us, something you, the 435 members of Congress, you are the only member who knows who that individual is, and your staff is the only staff of any member of Congress who's had a chance to talk with that individual. We would like that opportunity. When might that happen in this proceeding today?
First, as the gentleman knows, that's a false statement. I do not know the identity of the whistleblower, and I'm determined to make sure that identity is protected.
The Washington Post identified that, yes, before the person became a whistleblower, they sought advice from the committee. When I was asked the question, I thought they were referring to whether we had brought the whistleblower in. And I should have been more clear in my answer.
I do not know the identity of the whistleblower, and I'm determined to make sure that identity is protected.
Today we are welcoming the Prime Minister of Italy to the capital of the United States, which reminds me that when I took my grandchildren to Venice a few years ago, and we were being told about the Doge a long time ago, who was the power in Venice, we were told that the Doge did not have all of that power. He had to be accountable to a council of ministers, and only then could he proceed with whatever he was proposing, or what they were proposing he could proceed with. And when Thomas Jefferson visited Venice and visited the Doge and saw the separation of power, that was an inspiration for him for the separation of power in the Constitution of the United States, which is the genius of our Constitution, the separation of power, checks and balances. So today, as an Italian-American, I take pride in Thomas Jefferson's, it's the story they told me, it's the story I'm sticking with, that Thomas Jefferson learned this in Italy, and it became the genius of our Constitution. Right, Rosa, you agree?
That one right.